All right, let's do a little bit more with this section. We started it yesterday, and the stuff we're doing today is actually a little bit weirder than what we did yesterday. All right, so hate to scare you, not trying to scare you, but let me see what we're just trying to look through my notes here. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's do this first. I'm going to grab a graph. I'm going to grab this one right here. Put that there. Let's put it over here so I can write over here. Get to my right page. Let's see, which page am I on? I think I'm doing this. There we go. All right, this is example 3. It's in the book. So, example 3. All right, it tells you, let's see, I should probably have the picture out in the book because I do put the notes here, but sometimes I write extra stuff or I don't write enough. What lesson is this anyway? 6-6. Where's my other book? Oh, there it is. Sorry about this. All right, so let me get to 6-6. There we go. What did I say example this was? 3? All right. Okay, so there's A, in the book. Oh yeah, okay, I see. Yep, it's A and B. So this is example 3A. Just want to make sure. All right, so they do tell you that it's a rhombus. I was just making sure. So they tell you the thing that, we'll draw a picture in a second, okay? But they do tell you that it's a rhombus. So what do you know about it if it's a rhombus? What do you know about all the sides of it? All the sides are equal to each other, exactly right, okay? And they tell you it's got some diagonals as well. All right, and they do put the picture on here for you, so that's pretty helpful. Let's move this over just a little bit more this way. There we go. All right, so what do they... This is not going to be drawn like perfectly, but it'll be good enough. So let's do this. Let's put a point here, put a point here. I'm trying to make that the same distance, just eyeballing it. Put a point up here. And this point down here is going to be the same distance from here to there. Does that look pretty close? Yeah, pretty close. All right, so that connects, this connects, and this connects. There we go. That kind of looks like it, doesn't it? And they put some letters in here, right? They say this is J, this is K, this is L, and this is M. And what else do they tell you? They tell you that first one is W0. All right, so the coordinate of this point right there is W0. What does that mean, W? It's just a letter, right? What does it represent? Just a number, a length, right? So how far is it from here to here? It's W. So how far is it? I'll tell you what, let's do this. Before I start getting into it, they tell you something else, don't they? They talk about the diagonals. So the diagonals... I don't understand. Haven't done anything yet. The diagonals are length 2W and 2T. All right? So let's just look at that part right now. First of all, here's your rhombus. Where are your diagonals? Give me some letters. Give me one diagonal. So one diagonal would be what? It's a line segment. Line segment what? Give me 2 letters. JL. Okay, I heard that. JL. Yep. You see, from here to here, that's a diagonal. Everybody see it? But it's part of an x and y axis, isn't it? All right. So JL is one diagonal. Would you say KM is the other one? All right. So your two diagonals are JL and KM. Everybody see that? So you've got your rhombus right here. This connects from there to there. That's a diagonal. From there to there, that's a diagonal. Tim, you getting this? You're the one that said you didn't understand. You're not even looking up here. That's part of the reason. Yeah, because you're staring at the ground. Okay, your head was down. You're reaching for stuff that's not even on the floor. I don't even know what you're doing. Okay, you're sure not going to understand by doing that. See, if you were like really into it, had your pencil down, writing everything and say, I don't understand that, I'd be cool with you. But when your head is almost to the ground, okay, I don't have any patience for that. You got to understand that. I'm willing to help you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help you understand this, but you've got to do your part. All right, enough of that. Let's keep going and stop. All right? Don't need that. So look, so this is a diagonal, this is a diagonal. What do we know about the diagonals of rhombus? What do? They are perpendicular, that's very true. And would you agree if this is a x-axis, that's a y-axis, that would be perpendicular? Absolutely. Okay, well, what do we know about the lengths of it? Okay, what do the diagonals of a rhombus, what do they do to each other besides being perpendicular? They bisect each other, exactly right. So, do they put a letter? They don't put a letter, but that's okay. What do we say was the length from here to here? It's W. How did we know that? Because this point right here is W0. For instance, let's say it wasn't a letter, it was just a number. Because everybody gets freaked out when you put letters in there. But if they're numbers, you're like, oh, okay, I see it. But a letter just represents a number. So what if it was like a 5? How long would it be from the origin to this point L? It'd be 5, wouldn't it? 5, 0. Would you agree? What would this point, if this was a 5 from here to here, what would it be from this origin to point J? It'd be 5 as well. But what would the ordered pair actually be? 5, 5? 5, 5 would be up here. It's -5, 0. It's -5, 0. Okay? Because again, this is W. Actually, I put a 5. Why did I put a 5 there? I don't want to put a 5 there. I just did that to get us to think about this. But it's not 5, is it? We don't know what it is. But it's W. We use W. So what's the point going to be? -W. All right? If the length of it was 5, then what is this point right here? Right? From there to there. I'm sorry. If the length of this was W, then the length from here to here is W. And so what is the actual point on a coordinate plane, on an XY plane? It's -W0. Everybody sees that, right? Well, that's what they ask for, okay? They ask you to find the missing coordinates. That's what the problem says. Find the missing coordinates. Now, in the book, I didn't do it here, but in the book, they put blanks, right? They put like a line and a line, right? I'm just going to put an ordered pair like that. So we found one already, didn't we? They gave us one. They gave us this one in red. Okay, we found this one because we knew the diagonals are bisected. So I know that the length of this is W, so the length of this is W. But if I'm talking coordinates, right, going to a certain point, I start here, and how do I get to that point? I go negative, whatever distance that is, and what is that distance? It's W, so it's -W. How far up do I go? I went 0, okay? Everybody with me so far? Now look what they give you. They told you it's a rhombus, so you know all 4 sides are equal, and you know the diagonals bisect each other. They tell you the lengths of the diagonals. This diagonal right here is 2W, the whole thing. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because if this was W, and this is W, what is it from J to L? What's the length? It's 2W, correct? They also tell you the length of the other diagonal. Let's put this in a different color. They tell you the length of the other diagonal. So they tell you that, whoops, that was a terrible brace. But anyway, that thing right there, what's the length of that whole thing right there? It's 2t, right? The whole thing is 2t. Again, it's being bisected, isn't it? So what is it from the origin up to k? It's t. Everybody see that? The whole thing is 2t, right? What's half of it? What's half of 2t? What's half of 2? 1t, right? So the length from here to here is t. What is the length from here to here? That's also t. Do you see how the 2t is there? All right. So now what we need to do is just find the coordinates of the points. What is that actual point right there? Do I just put a t? What is it? What's the actual coordinate of that point? Well, first of all, I go 0 on the x, so that's going to be a 0. How far up do I go? I go t. That's right. Again, if it was like a 3, if I said the length of this diagonal was 6, then what is it from here to here? What if the length of the whole diagonal was 6? What is it from here to here? It's 3. That's right. So what is that point then? It's 0, 3. But it's not 6, is it? It's 2t. So how did we get a 3 out of a 6? What did we do to it? Divided by 2, right? Okay, so what do we do to 2t? Divided by 2. The 2's cancel. So what's the length from here to here? It's t. You see it? If they were regular numbers, it'd be kind of easy to picture it. Would you agree? But we just have to understand that these letters right here, they just represent numbers. So just throw in any old number. I mean, don't put an odd number in there. That'd be kind of dumb, wouldn't it? All right, because we want to divide it by 2. So pick an even number, all right? And then you say, okay, how do I get to that? Well, it's half of the whole thing. Half of 6 is 3. Half of 8 is 4. Half of 10 is 5, whatever it is. What's half of 2t? Just t. So the length from here to here is t. What's the point? It's 0 along the x and t along the y. This one should be easy now. What's this point down here? Point M. 0, negative t. Exactly right. It's 0, negative t. And that's what they're asking for. What are the answers? The answers are this. They ask you to solve for, or to find the coordinate of point K. What is it? It's 0t. They ask you to find the point of point J. What's that point? It's not W. It's negative W0. Okay, they ask you to find, well, they already told you L to begin with, so we didn't have to find that. What's the other one we had to find? M. Let's move this up a little bit. So we had to find point M, and where is point M? 0, negative t. And that's what they're asking you to do. Okay, that's your answer right there. Does that make sense? All right. You just have to get used to them talking about the lengths in letters instead of numbers. All right? If they just told you the length of this was 6 and the length of that was 8, I bet you anything, any of you could have just figured out what those points were. Do you think? You think that would have been easier if they would have just told you the actual numbers? Yeah. And that's true. I agree. It would be the same thing with me. But we just have to start understanding, especially on this part of this lesson. That's what's a little tricky about this lesson. They don't give you just regular numbers. They give you things in terms of letters, right? And letters represent numbers, though, don't they? They have since we've been doing algebra, right? I see memes every once in a while on Facebook, and they're making fun of algebra and stuff because they're like, oh, I thought math was numbers. Who introduced letters? You're crazy, blah, blah, blah. And it's not crazy, right? Because we use letters all the time if we have formulas and things like that. So we've known for a long time that we use letters to represent numbers, okay? The people making those memes, they just don't have a life and whatever, all right? But that's what we're doing here. So let's do another one. We okay with that? Any questions on this?
No, it makes sense because of how
yeah, that's it. This whole thing right here is 2t. What is it from J to L? That's 2 what? W, right? So what's that length? That's just 1W, and that's 1W. All right, so that's not too hard. Let's do another one. It's a little bit trickier. I'll tell you right now, it's a little bit trickier. This time we're going to use a trapezoid. And let's draw it. We're only going to draw this in the first quadrant, all right? So I'm just going to draw my graph like that because everything's going to be in the first quadrant, all right? Let me look at the book again. All right, so it's a trapezoid, and it's not just any old trapezoid. It even says in the book it's an isosceles trapezoid. So let's start it right here. goes about right there. I'll copy and paste this just to kind of be as accurate as I can here. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Flip it horizontally. There we go. And see if I can grab it. Thank goodness. All right, and it's just here somewhere. And I'm going to just connect from here to here. Should connect right on. Yep. There we go. So it's pretty much perfect. Let's see, make sure they tell us. Okay, they tell us that this point right here is point P. Now, it's kind of unfortunate they called it point P, but they call the coordinate of this PH. All right, it's kind of weird. Let me write the rest of them down. Q is what we're looking for. Actually, let's do that in a different color. So this is point Q, and what we're going to have to do is figure out what are the coordinates of point Q. All right, and yep, and they tell you one more thing. They tell you, we'll do this in red again. This is point R, and the coordinates of this point are R0, little r, 0. And I think that's everything they tell you, isn't it? Yep, it is. And what do they want you to find? They want you to find, what do you think they want you to find, by the way?
Q.
Yeah, they do want you to find Q. But in order to find Q, what do you think we're going to have to know? Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's just find Q. That's probably the best thing to say. Find Q. And I'm going to put a little parentheses. We'll just leave that blank and we'll fill that in once we find it. Okay? So let's do a different. So how do we get to Q? Well, we would start here. We go in this direction right underneath of the Q. Oops, let's try to get this to go. Let's try this one more time. From there, where do you am I under the Q about right there? Pretty close. And then let's do another color. Whoops, don't want to change that. Keep that yellow. Can you see that yellow against the white right there?
Yeah.
Can you tell it's different? Probably should have picked a different color, but it's okay. And then, yeah, that's good. So really, watch what I want to try to do. If I'm going to get to this point Q, what do I need to find? I need to find out how far along the yellow and then how far up the what? The blue. And that's going to give me my point. Would you agree? All right. There's one that's super easy. What's the easiest one to find? The yellow or the blue? Is it? I don't think it's the yellow. Let me make that a little bit thicker just so we can see a little better. I don't know. Is that any better or not? Oh, I made that whole white line. That's not what I wanted. Let's get rid of that. Let's try it one more time. Hold on. Yep, there's the yellow. All right, let's make that just a little thicker. There we go. That looks a little better, doesn't it? Okay, so we want to find out how long that yellow one is, how long the blue one is, and that's going to give me point Q. Would you agree? Because how do I get to Q? I start here, I go this far to the right, and I go this far up. Yes? All right. I don't think that the yellow one is the easiest one to find. I think the blue one is. Why? Because I already have it. Tell me. Tristan, tell me why. That's right. Exactly right. So what I'm going to do, I just copied that blue one because it's the same length. Look, I already know how far up I go from right there. Would you agree? How far up do I go to get to that point? I went, no, not PH. It's just H. I just went up H. So what's the length of that blue one? It's H. So that one's H. What's this one going to be? This one's also going to be H. Because remember, this is a trapezoid. So what's true about the top and the bottom? They're parallel to each other, right? All right, so if this is perpendicular right here, then this is going to be perpendicular. So that's H. So we've got half of this. I'll keep this in green. So what's the y coordinate of point Q? It's just H, isn't it? All right. Let's do this. Okay. What about this little bit right here? Let's do some different color again. Running out of colors. Let's go to this pink color. What about this distance, this little distance from there to there? Oh, it's green again. That's okay. I'll keep it green. I don't care. What about that distance? How far is that? That's also P, isn't it? Yes? Okay, because how'd you get to that point? You went over P, you went up H to get to that point. Does that distance right here help you anywhere else? Where else? From where to where? From P to R? Well, I'll just tell you. I won't ask you. Look, do you see this area right here? What do you think that distance is? It's also P, isn't it? Yes? But what am I trying to find? I'm not just trying to find the length of P or the length of that little bit right here, this little bit right here. I'm trying to find which one. Give me colors. The yellow one. I'm trying to find the whole yellow one. Well, I got a little part of the yellow one, don't I? Okay, so I know from here to here is P. So remember, right there is P. What is it from, different color. Let's actually try to get a color this time. There we go. What is it from here to here? How far is that one? How do you know it's R? Because how did you get to that point? You went over R, didn't you? So the pink one is what? Is R. Well, how did you get to this point right here? You went over P, you went up H. Let's say it was 2, 3. Let's say that point was 2, 3, just for the fun of it, okay? So I went over 2, I went up 3. Agreed? So if this is 2, what's this little bit? It's 2. But it's not a 2, though, is it? All right? It's a P. So I went over P and I went up H. So from there to there is P. You know that this one and this one are going to be the same as well. So that's also P. All right? What I'm trying to do is find the whole yellow one. But I don't really know how far over I go on my yellow because that's what I'm trying to find. Everybody see that? I don't know how far over I go. For instance, let me do an example. We'll put that on hold for just a second. Let's do an example with actual numbers, and hopefully you'll understand this part right here. So I'm going to draw. This is completely separate from this. But let's say you knew the whole thing was 10. Okay? And, see, once I put numbers in there, then everybody gets it. Okay? See, when you put numbers in there, it makes sense because we're used to using numbers. And I understand. I completely get it. All right? But that's why I'm trying to show you that we can still do the same thing with letters that we do with numbers. So what if this was 3? And what if this was 3? Okay? Everybody see that? So what is it from here? No, watch. What is it from there to there? It's 7. That's right, because watch. The whole thing is 10. We took away 3, so what's that? Okay? But let's now use that to think about this. The whole thing was 10. What's the whole thing here? It's R. How do you find the yellow one? That's it. It's R minus P. You got it. So the yellow one is the whole thing minus this little bit, right? So it's R minus P. So what's this point, or what's the X part of the point right there? It's R minus P. So this is R minus P. That is the answer. Took a long time to explain it, but if you were to just look at it now, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? All right. Again, how do you know that whole thing's R? Because of this R right there. Because this point is R0. That means the length of that is R. All right. How'd you know that was P? Because you got to that point, you went over P, you went up H. How'd you know that was H to begin with? How do you know that blue one is H? Because you had to go up to there to get to H. So you had to go up to here to get to H. So that's how you knew that that was H. Okay? And then how did we find the yellow? We took the whole thing minus this little bit right here. The whole thing was R. This little bit was P. What's the yellow? It's R minus P. I should actually put that into yellow, shouldn't I? There we go. Okay? Do you see that? So how do you get to that point? Well, you go over this far. How far is it? R minus P. How far up you go? You went H. Boom. There's your point. And now you know all your points. What do you think?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem natural.
Let's do another one. This is, these are some problems. I put exercises here. Is the first one like a square with P, Q, and R?
Yeah. Yeah. There's P on the left,
Q on the top. Yeah. So here's number one. I'm going to do a few of these with you. Not for you, but with you. So you should be doing these along with me, okay? Or I could just let you do it on your own. What would you rather?
You do it with us.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
So let's do it. So I'll draw the picture that they drew. This is number one on your homework. And they draw, let's do this in a different color. We'll do it in red. We're doing the homework right now. I just said it. But thanks for playing along.
Good job, Matt.
I'm just trying to make this look accurate. Why are we all talking? We should be... Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Or do I? What do I want to do? Make this 90. There I go. That's what I wanted to do. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I didn't estimate that one very well, did I?
Should I call this school Monday? Stop talking.
All right, here we go. So I took great pains to draw this thing perfectly, all right? So, sorry it took so long. So they tell you it's a square. So this is, it's a weird Q, but that's a Q. So it's a square O, P, Q, R. O, P, Q, R. It's a weird combination of letters, but that's okay. And the lengths of the sides are just the letter S, okay? So they're not giving you regular numbers on this stuff, all right? They're just saying the length of the side is S. What we want to do is find all the coordinates, and this is an easy one. It's number one. It should be the easy one. Wouldn't you agree? All right, so they want you to find all the coordinates that are missing. One we already know for pretty easy. This is Q, this is R. How long are each of the lengths of this square? S. It's right here. The lengths of the side is what? It's S. So the length of this is S, the length of that one is S, that's S, and that's S, because it's a square. Okay? Question is, what are these coordinates? What is point P? Where is, I should say, point Q? Where is point R? And that's an O.
It's under that.
Right there. What's that?
Under it.
It's under it? What are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm lost.
You were saying that O was like underneath that the SS.
Oh, right here? Yeah, this is the O. That's the O. That's the easiest one to do. What's the O? 0, 0, right, because it's right at the origin. So that was simple. I think the next easiest one is probably R. What's the coordinates of point R? What is it? S0, correct. S0, right, because you went over S and you didn't go up at all. Okay? What about Q? Start here. You go over this far. You go up this far. SS. Very good. And what's this point right here? 0S. You got it. See, now you're getting the hang of it, right? Again, that was the easiest one, but at least you're understanding what we're trying to do here. Everybody got that? That's the kind of stuff they're going to ask you to do. Obviously, it's going to get harder. But let's try another one. Let me just copy this and this. All right, get that out of the way. We good with that? So everybody's got one right. Whoops, I missed something. That's okay. Let me just draw it from scratch. It's no big deal. So this is number 2. And they tell you it's a parallelogram. So let's draw a parallelogram. So we've got that. I'm just going to copy and paste that to go right here. And then I'm going to connect from here to here, and then connect from there to there. There we go. There you go. There's parallelogram. And it's parallelogram OPQR, same letters. So again, this is O, this is P, Q, and R. All right, and let's see, what do they tell you? Let's see, because when I took the notes, I didn't write what they tell you and what we figured out. So they tell you P already, don't they? And R, okay, so P is AB. And what is R? C0. All right. And they asked for Q, correct? All right, so this is what we're trying to find. We're just trying to find that. That looks kind of similar to what we did earlier, right, on the example? But it might be a little easier. I don't know. We'll see. So how far over did you get to R? How far is that? It's C. So the length of that is C. Agreed? All right, and so, yeah, that's good enough. How far did you go over to get to that point right there? You went over what?
B.
Did you? Over. You went over, like left and right. How far over? You went to A. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this down. I don't think we need that C, do we? All right. So now, that should help you. So what's the length of the yellow one? It's B, because we went over A. So from there to there is A. And then we went up, what? B. See what those points tell you? They tell you certain lengths, right? So from there to there is B. So how far is it to get up, just to get up to point Q? It's B. So where does the B go here? It goes right here, because we went up to get B. Everybody see that? Right? Because you went all the way to here, and then you had to go up. Well, you went up the same as you went up to get to that point, because these are parallel to each other. All right? So if you went up to get to B here, you go up to get to B here. Again, if you get confused, just throw some numbers in here. Let's call this 3, 5. All right? So you went over how much? 3, and how far did you go up? 5. All right? So the length of that is 5. So what's the distance here? We went over a certain amount. We don't know right now. We haven't thought about that just yet. But we went over a certain amount, and then how far up did we go? We went up 5 or B. All right? If you need to throw a number in just to get your mind thinking a little bit, feel free to do that. But that's that. Now what we have to do is this. We have to figure out how far to get right here. Where is that? That's from here to there. Would you agree? So if I took this yellow, let's just do this. Take that yellow and then move it over to there. So what are we really trying to find? What is going to go right here? It's going to be this little bit right here. See that little white part right there at the bottom of that? That's really what we want to find, kind of. So what is it? Yes, exactly right. It would be. All right, since this is a parallelogram, if I drop this down and drop this down, see this triangle right here? That's the same as that triangle right there. So what is this little bit from here to here? It's A. So what is this little white part right here? That's also A. But do I just put A right here? Did I go over A? No, I went over what? I went over this whole thing. No, it's not R. How far? This whole thing from here, this red, the bottom red, from here to here is how far? It's not R. R represents that point right there. Yes, it's C, C0. So this red line right there is C. Everybody see that? What's the little bit from here to here? It's A. So what is this? It's C plus A. It's not CA, and it's not R. R is not a length. R is just the name of the point. You see the difference? R is just the name of the point. The length, right, in order to get to this point, from the distance, I should say, to get from here to here is C, because what is that point? It's C0. So that length from there to there is C. Yes? All right. And then this little bit right here is the same as this little bit right here. All right. And so this red is C, but then I got to go all the way to here. So I just added that A to it, and then boom, I've got that distance from here to here. So this is C plus A, and this is B, and that's the point right there. That was a little trickier, wasn't it? But it's the same idea, right? Same thought process. Agreed? Okay. You want to do another one? Might as well. I'm doing your homework for you, right? So your answer should be what? Yes, Mr. Hamrick, do them all. All right? We're not going to do them all, but at least I'll get you started on it. Yeah. That's all right. Let's do number 3, and then I'll let you try to do the rest of them. Which one do you want to do? You said 5? 4, 5, 6, and 7. You want to? Let's do that. Let's do 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm not going to be able to do them all, but at least we'll set it up. All right? No, I said 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So, you say it's easy? So 4, 5, 6, and 7 is normal?
No.
5, 6, and 7 are
5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. Well, but they all have to do with the same picture, though, right? Yeah. So we probably have to know a little bit about 4 before we do 5, 6, and 7, is my guess. Do you agree with that?
4 is really easy.
It is. But we might need that to do the rest of them. All right. So let's do this in red. Oops, I don't want that in red. Let's change that. Sorry. Now let's change it to red. There we go. All right. It's a rectangle. And the center of the rectangle is, boom, right there. There you go. That was pretty quick. And they give you some, what are the letters? E, F, G, H, right? Mm-hmm. So E, F, G, and H. They put some diagonals in there. Is that correct? Yep. I'll, instead of dotted, I'll just make them a different color. And then from there to there. All right. So, and they tell you the length of, they just tell you that one point. It's negative AB, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And this is number 4. And you're right. The first part of this, that's negative AB. But we're going to need to know these things in order to find the other 5, 6, and 7, okay? So if this is negative A, watch. So from here to here, how far is it? It's A. How far up is it? It's B. So let's do F. How far over? Positive, right? How far up? B. Let's do G. How far over? Positive A. How far down? Negative B. And then H?
Negative A, negative B.
Good. Negative A, negative B. You get the hang of it now. All right? Everybody got that? All right. So that was number 4, wasn't it? Number 5, what do they say on number 5? It says, find the lengths of EF and EG. Where is EF? That's that whole thing. So what is the length of that whole thing right there? This is what, number 5? So EF is equal to, 2A. Because, What is it from here to here? It's A. What is it from here to here? It's A. What's the whole length?
2A.
A plus A, which is 2A.
Oh, so like the negative isn't affected or anything?
Not if you find the length of it. The length of it, the negative doesn't have anything to do with it. But if they ask you where the specific point is, then it matters if it's negative or positive. Okay, and then FG was the other one. FG. It's this one. Yep, because that was B. That was B. What's the whole thing? 2B. So that was easy, wasn't it? Okay, 6 says, find the midpoints of what? EF? Let's write down this. Midpoints of EF. What is it? FG and HF. Okay, so what are the midpoints of these? Well, midpoint of EF. Well, EF is this whole entire thing right here, right? So let's do this in a different color. I got too much red going on.
It's just A, right?
Well, it's a point. You can't just say A. That's not a point. You need an ordered pair. So look, real quick, let's finish this up. That point right there, that's the midpoint of EF. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So what's the actual point, the ordered pair? It's 0, what? B. That's right, it's 0B. You see that? So it's started at 0. How far did you go up? You went up B. And you should be able to do the rest of them now. Okay? That at least gets you a head start, right? All right. You feel a little bit better about it today? Okay.
HW.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm going to take them both tomorrow since it's all kind of the same lesson. So do whatever I told you on the lesson plan for this lesson. Didn't I break it up into 2 parts? Okay, so do the second part tonight, and I'll collect them both tomorrow.
I think this is.
That is your book. Yes, it is. There you go. Yeah.
What if they write the other part on a different paper?
Yeah, let's do them separate, A and B. All right, then you get 5 points for each of them. Okay, do them on a separate paper, the part B, okay? But I'll take them both tomorrow.